it is do or die already. And it's week 4 out of 9, right? Like, that is insane to say. It has just not been my year the entire way through. But hey, we can change that all with a big win today. We're playing against Necrostevo, someone who I haven't actually had the opportunity to play against before. So super excited about that. Always love getting the opportunity to play against someone new. If you're excited for today's video, make sure to subscribe if you have not already. We are so close to that 1,000 subscriber mark. We're 100 away, so every subscription helps a ton towards hitting that goal. We got so much good content coming out in the next draft project. Super excited for what that's going to be. I've got a lot of cool other videos, ideas that I want to do. I got so many ideas, I just got to find time to do it. I think I finally will. So get subscribed. We got a lot of cool things coming out over the next couple of months. That being said, we're in the now, right? And the next couple of months might be exciting, but we got to play this week's battle. Necrostevo's team's pretty good here. He's got Terra Flygon, which, look, some might say it's better than Terra Regieleki. I don't know. That might just be a Nobo thing. Who knows? That's not me. That might not be me saying that. We got some interesting Pokemon. Tankaton's a really, really good Pokemon in low tier. Just as like a Steel Fairy and a fast Encore user. It operates so many roles that just don't exist in this format. So like a huge pickup for his team. Gengar, one of the Pokemon we brought back into the format. Super powerful Ghost type. Gives an opportunity to shine. Terra Mesprit, a Pokemon that you probably see a lot in SV Drop League right now if you're looking at the Tor scene, the 8-Mon scene, and a bunch of other good defensive pieces. This is an interesting matchup, and I struggled with this one a lot, not only due to the fact that short turnaround time for this build, but it felt like all of my Pokemon were just kind of awkward. Stuff like Monkey Dory struggled to really break through his team. With the Tinkaton still there, it gets picked off by Bramblegrass. I have no great switch into Bramblegrass also. So like that creates so many weird situations. Tauros, man, Tauros feels like it should be so good on paper, but it just can't find an opportunity to come in this matchup. Sinistcha is great, but what type do you want Sinistcha to be? Like, oh, such a difficult thing to come to decision-wise here. Goodra at least is pretty good. Obviously, you run into that Tinkaton problem, but you'll see Flamethrower on her set. Get an aggressive Flamethrower, that'll look pretty good. And her speed options feel a little weird here. Talonflame is okay into the Gengar, not great into the Flygon. The Froslass, it ties the Gengar, which is interesting. So a lot of things going on in this battle that I think put it a little bit in Necrostevo's favor. We haven't even gotten to the Flamigo, which is going to be a very big problem in this battle as well. So I think a little bit in the matchup on his side, I think it speaks to the composition of my team just not feeling exactly right. I haven't had the time to look at transactions, so maybe we do that for week number 6. Week number 5, don't have enough time for that. So maybe we win week number 5 as well, get back to 2 and 3, and put ourselves with new transactions to go guns blaze into the end of the season. So let's get into the team that we brought. We have a Sulfus Goodra again. A Sulfus Goodra is awesome. This Pokemon is so good. I really struggle with the item, right? Like the item, I mean, like the 4 attacks was kind of built itself with Modest, right? Like this helps you break through Vaporeon. The Flamethrower is really good for the Tinkaton. You can drop Dracos on this team with Tinkaton gone. Like that's super powerful here. Flash Cannon is nice to just have that coverage. It's not really for anything in particular. But there are Terras here to watch out for. So diversifying a stab coverage is always really nice here in this spot. But I went with the Assault Vest 1. I consider Resist Berries, but it's hard to know whether I want the Shucket Berry or the what's it called, the Chopple Berry for the Gengar. And I was saying, it's like, is he going to bring Gengar in on this Pokemon? Like, AV can kind of chew that a little bit, right? So I went with AV because it helps me keep damage up against Mesprit, Vaporeon, Bellibolt, and stuff like that. Just keep the HP as high as possible. It could have been Citrus Berry. It could have been Leftovers. This also helps a little bit versus Gengar if it's not Focus Blast. So I think that's pretty much impossible this week. I went with Terra Bug with Sinistcha, man. I love a good Terra Bug set, I'll tell you that. A Calm Mind set is back here. And this set 1, Terra Bug is honestly the best typing I could come up with defensively in this matchup. It's good into the Gengar, the Tinkaton. It opens up Flamigo in theory, but Flamigo was already opened up. I think it's just the best way to get rid of the ghost typing while keeping a lot of the resistances that you had. I've waffled around with Steel, with Poison, and all the sets had heavy duty boots anyway, so I wasn't too concerned about losing an item slot. But we're going Calm Mind this week, but this is kind of another situation where it's Calm Mind, Strength Sap, but we're going to be clicking Strength Sap a decent amount, right, to keep high HP, but Machagacha plus Shadow Ball just is a great click without even the Combine setup, right? But the Combine setup, once that happens, once Tinkaton's out of the way, don't worry about Encore, really, really will benefit this team in the long run. Give me a good end game win condition. We're going with defensive Talonflame here. A little bit of a mix, right? Very, very fast because we want to be able to outspeed that Gengar. The set's obviously not doing a terrible amount to Gengar, but he doesn't know that off rip, right? And Gengar Substitute was the set we tested against in Mox. That's very likely. So it's expected to get to lower HP. Flamethrower is going to do a little bit under half. I think some rolls go over half, but that's kind of what you're targeting, right? But this is a defensive Pokemon to come in on Bramblegrass. I got nothing else to do that. You can come in on Tinkaton if need be. Can like try to burn Flamigo by outspeeding it. You know, get some Flame Body procs. Overall, this Pokemon is just a speed option that can come in on Tinkaton, come in on Bramblegrass. Just throw out some Flamethrowers. Throw out a Will-O-Wisp to either burn the Vaporeon, to burn something like a Flygon, a Tinkaton, bunch of other things like that. So this Pokemon, that's really its main goal in this battle. Bring a little bit of speed, throw some burns around. This is my rocker this week. Rocky Helmet. I have counter here. I was thinking of situations like if Bramblegrass came, you could if it rapid spins into the Mudsail, I can counter and pick it off. Because like realistically, my counterplay on that Pokemon long term just like doesn't exist. And then counter helps with something like the Flamigo as well, makes it easy to just wipe that Pokemon out. And then this gets up my Stealth Rocks. Stealth Rocks are going to be pretty nice here in this battle to keep pressure on Pokemon like Gengar's HP low, because like if we expect a substitute set, right, we want to keep that HP low to keep it in a situation where our Talonflame can pick it off, and then Earthquake Body Press just to pressure some attacks offensively. Custap Berry Froslass, little Spikes set to start us off. If he doesn't bring a spinner, like if the Bramblegrass isn't here, Spikes is actually pretty good into this team. Good into like the Tinkaton, the Gengar, Vaporeon if there's no boots, Bellybolt, Arcanine, just like really, really good in general against this team. So if we want to find opportunities to get Spikes up, this is kind of that sneaky Custap Berry, right? This is like kind of like one of the perfect ways I find to use Custap Berry is don't use it as a lead, just like use it naturally, find a situation where you get under 25%, and just like Destiny Bond and claim a KO for free. Double coverage here, Ice Beam, is mainly to help check the Flygon, and then Shadow Ball helps check the Gengar. We are speed tying Gengar. There is a chance that it tries to not speed tie us if it's like a bulky substitute set, but still kind of unlikely. And then the last set is Dudunsparce. Dudunsparce, Toxic Roost, Double Stab. This set kind of helps me not auto-lose to the Nasty Plot like the Sub Gengar set. I mean, it's a decent switch in, right? It forces him to click to click Focus Blast into this, right? And be put in a situation where he has to risk misses and stuff. But what this is really here for is there's stuff like Arcanine, Bellybolt, Vaporeon, Mabasa. There's a lot of like middling defensive Pokemon that spreading Toxic around on is going to be super nice. The only thing that can switch into that is the Gengar and the Tinkaton. And if he goes Gengar, I can just get a free Shadow Ball off if he tries to Focus Blast me at like high HP. Or he goes Tinkaton, and Tinkaton I've got a lot of free switch-ins to as well. So the goal of this set is just to spread Toxic and at least like stop the initial onslaught from Gengar. Alas, my Gengar counterplay, as you can tell, not super great. That's kind of been the trend I feel like with a lot of my teams recently. We've had a lot of issues with just not being able to build consistent backbones and running into just like random substitute setup sets that just kind of get me off guard here. So that's the team for this week. Shout out to Willow Rush for the mock this week. As I said, a little bit of a quick one to get turned around with the vacation. Did not mean to say it like that. I don't know what I'm talking about right now. Quick turnaround time, vacation, all that. But let's get right into the battle. All right, week 4 of LTM. Yeah, don't remember last week's battle. Don't worry about that one, chat. Watch Kurt's battle this week if you want to get a little revenge for that. Spoilers. Necrostevo's brought Terra Ground Flygon and Terra Ghost Mesprit. I'm going to lead Talonflame here. Talonflame, I think, is the best lead against the majority of the leads that are realistic in this matchup, I think. I don't have a good lead, honestly, I think, into like the range of what he can do. I have enough good pass out of it, but it is what it is. Go like to Necrostevo, someone we haven't had the opportunity to play before, so that's super exciting. Unfortunately, we got Larry background, that's super unexciting, but we get Terra Ghost Mesprit lead, which is interesting. I'm not sure how to feel about this. I mean, I'm just going to U-turn, right? I am like very fast on this set. He could be Choice Scarf, I guess, right? But but I think like the highest possibility of this is just he's going to be some Stealth Rock set for the early game, right? It makes the most sense. And I can just go here into my Dedensparce. I expect Stealth Rocks, right? Like, I think we just go into... I think we just go into this, I think. Yeah, let's just go into our Goodra Hisui. I think you gotta put pressure early, right? Second noise also, yeah, okay. 0 damage, right? Like, that's perfectly fine either way. Our goal here in this game, right, is to deal, you know, we want to do a lot of damage, and one of the main things we have to get out of the way early, at least in my eyes, is that Tinkaton. Tinkaton comes in on a lot of Pokemon. It's, you know, also a big deterrent for this, big deterrent for my Goodra. So I'm going to click Flamethrower here, make an aggressive play. Oh, he's just Drain Punch. Okay. Didn't really expect that play necessarily, but good to know. Okay. I love a burn here. Okay, not exactly the play. I wasn't expecting mixed here, if I'm gonna be honest. Let's see Mesprit at -1 speed. I am gonna outspeed this Pokemon now, right? Draco Meteor. I definitely can't lose more HP on this Pokemon. That would just be not really productive at all, right? So I think what I want to do is just go into my Froslass. Froslass gives me a good Shadow Ball turn at the very least. And it is Custap Berry, and I wouldn't mind taking a little chip on this Pokemon, right? And he's just going to go for the U-turn. Alright, perfectly fine with that. Good sequence for him early to get himself into the game. Took a little bit of chip, more than I would like to, on my Goodra, but Goodra's going to spend a lot of time coming in on Vaporeon and trying to click attacks, so I'm not really concerned with my AV about the health too much of that. But a really good lead for him. He's got into this game very well. So far, he probably thinks he's broken a sash. A lot of things he's probably thought have gone well so far, but alas, I still think we're getting into the game, right? We got to feel this is one that we'll have to feel out a little bit as we get into it. The Flagon being Terra Ground is also very, very nice. I'm very, very happy about that because it makes it a little bit easier for my Sinistra to manage that set. In comes the Tinkaton. Tinkaton doesn't reveal an item, so no air balloon. I could go into my, Talonflame. I do think it's a little obvious that I go Talonflame, and Rock Slide is like a free click because it also hits this Pokemon. And if he goes Gigaton Hammer, sets up rocks. I want to get my own rocks as well. That's also a priority in this battle. Obviously, taking chip on this a Pokemon that's 4 Flamigo is a problem. But I don't need to worry too much about that because Flamigo has to Brave Bird basically every time with my Ghost types in the back. So we expect Stealth Rocks to come in. Just knock off. Losing the Rocky Helmet is not great. I will say that much, right? That is not good. Would really obviously prefer to have that item than not have it. But alas, that's where we're at. And this is a perfect time to click Stealth Rocks here. Let's get those Stealth Rocks up. There's no spinner in this battle. There's no way he's going to attack. He could, I guess, in theory, Ice Hammer. That is something we saw in Mox was Ice Hammer eject pack, but he is going to withdraw. Okay. So Stealth Rocks are up. That's good. We need these for a lot of reasons, right? Vaporeon coming in. I want to keep this Pokemon's HP low. Want to punish Flamigo. Choice Scarf Flamigo is pretty good here. So Stealth Rocks to get that Pokemon damage is obviously super key. And this is free turns for my, I want to get my Goodra in as much as possible. I've taken more HP than I want to, so I want to take the opportunity to get value there when I can. Flip turn is obviously super obvious here, right? It gets a turn into Flamigo. But I'm okay with that. If that's the play, then it is what it is, right? Anything else I could go into, Sinistra opens up that same line of play, and all that. So that starts the chip happening. He doesn't have hazards up. He didn't take the opportunity to get Stealth Rocks up with his Tinkaton, which means that my Mudstill can at least hold that Pokemon back for the time being, right? Which is good to see. Unless he could go something else. I'm trying to think of where where else he would go. I could see like Gengar going to Gengar to Focus Blast here would be like curious. I wouldn't agree with that play. I mean, we're not technically in range. Like, we're in range with our set, but it's hard for him to know this early into the game that he can go Focus Blast with like a timid set. And like, would you? Like, yeah, I don't know. That seems like a way too risky of a play when you have a Flamigo just in the back, right? No reason to overcomplicate things. Or Flygon, for that matter, right? Flygon kind of operates in the same way. Now, this is Terra Ground Flygon. So there's like a decent chance we see the Terra come out here. I could go Mudsdale. I could go into my Sinistcha here. I want to do some Sinistcha calcs. I have a little bit of defense. I actually have a decent amount here to live some of these hits. And I think I do want to go into Sinistcha early here. I do have the Machagacha to gain some of this HP back. And there's not a lot of things he wants to switch in and get burned, right? Like if Tinkaton gets burned, that's pretty bad for him. It's hard for him to really set up, especially with Terra Ground with this Sinistcha in the back. I'm trying to look. I'm going to look here at like coverage moves that he could run with his Flygon. That would be just as like a refresher. Oh, I guess he could Crunch here. Crunch is a hard click to make here, I think, though. And even if he does click Crunch, right? Then I can Terra. That doesn't even do that much. That doesn't even do that much, honestly. This Pokemon, I mean, shout out to Flygon not being that great. All right, we see the Terra come up here. I think an Earthquake is coming here, right? Like, it is most likely that we see Earthquake. Especially if he's Terraing. He might U-turn, I guess. But now he's lost a Dragon type, which means Machagacha is a kill here. And he just goes for the Earthquake. So this is going to do about 20%, give or take. This is what, 75? Yeah, 75. That is, ooh, is that 75? 34, yeah, 75. Okay, so this is not even max attack. Yeah, this is some sort of like mixed investment of some variety. I mean, either way, right? I'm clicking Machagacha here. I'm not Terrang. If he goes for Crunch, we know that this thing is not like super invested, or at least has less investment than would be expected. So even if he has a random Crunch, we don't worry about that, right? We just go for Machagacha, put pressure on something. If he goes to Tinkaton, hope we get a burn here, right? A little bit of rocks damage, some Machagacha chip, and a burn would be super nice here. Would make this Pokemon much easier to switch into over the course of this game. Alright, so no burn is a little bit sad. I do think rocks are likely to get... I think at some point rocks have to get up, right? Like at some point we're looking to set up our Stealth Rocks. If we're Necro-Stevo here. I can't really... Because I want to go this, right? I think at this point this is a little bit safer. Yeah, so I'm gonna go here into Talonflame. I think rocks are likely to get up, and I can at least Will-O-Wisp to punish a Vaporeon turn here, which I think I do want to have a little bit. Yeah, and he does go for the Stealth Rocks here. So I could go into something like the Mudsdale, but one, kind of want to keep HP on that a little bit high for the Flamigo, just because I have to switch into that Pokemon. And right here, I can just go for the Will-O-Wisp to burn this Pokemon. I just want to do a quick calc. This is like I wouldn't say there's a high chance that this is Custap Berry, right? But like, I don't know, you should play around it, right? You should kind of think of that, right? Like Rock Slide's not doing a lot here, and like if this Pokemon's burned, he's really not doing a lot. So I'm just gonna go for the Will-O-Wisp here. He might just be Akka. If he's Lumberry, he's broken my ankles on that one, right? Like that's super good for him. But I expected if he stays in to be Custap Berry, and he's just gonna go for the knockoff. Okay, so not even a Rock Slide here. We lose our boots, which is a little bit unfortunate, right? Would have really preferred not to have lost those boots there. But this was kind of an inevitability with the Pokemon that he brought, that this Pokemon was going to have to take like a certain amount of damage. The problem is this doesn't even necessarily kill with the Flamethrower. This Pokemon, I mean, it's super bulky, right? The Tinkaton. So with this being burned, I'm okay to just Flamethrower. Things I might want this for would include include outspeeding Gengar. So I'm just going to go for the Flamethrower This is likely not going to kill. It doesn't, and that should give me a chance to roost here, actually, after this turn. Like, that's not going to do a lot of damage. And this thing should stay alive here, yeah. And that should die after. Not that I've been a good judge of the HP bar in recent weeks. Maybe I should finally get one of those things on the layout. I feel like everyone makes a pretty boneheaded mistake and says that. But let's just roost off this HP, right? No reason not to. Get a little HP back. I am even HP. Ooh, did not realize that. That is throwing. I always harp on people for running even HP, and I finally run myself into a position where it's super punishing for me. So there you go. Shout out to me. Now I can't switch into this Pokemon twice. But in comes Vaporeon, and we're okay with that. There are still, I will say that, like, obviously that's like very like troll, and I'm a bad player for that. But like in this instance, right, like we're gonna, if we're bringing it in, we're either bringing it in once more on like a Gengar and losing it anyway. So let's just U-turn. This has revealed to be Boots now, which is good to know. Gives us a little bit of extra information. Now the problem here, I'm looking at where this battle is going, is this Flamigo is going to be a real problem. It's really hard for me to actually answer that Pokemon at this point. It was one of the considerations I had for Ghost Terra on my my Sinistra, which is what I think I'm going to now. So I think we're at a point where we have the Custap Berry Destiny Bonnet, which I don't like that. That's not awesome, right? Like that is not great, but let's go into Sinistra, right? We obviously expect the flip turn out here. It's the most obvious play. But just a normal Scald here is perfectly fine, and that gives me a free Matcha Gotcha. We get the Scald burn. That's not great. You don't like to see that, but alas, it is what it is. I mean, Tinkaton's coming in, right? I think he's just going to sack that Pokemon off just to maximize damage against me, and then bring in something like the Flamigo, I think, after the fact, is the most likely here. But we'll Matcha Gotcha anyway, right? That Pokemon's set to rock, so like, where it's not, like, you can't like Strength Sap to predict or get any HP back that way, right? So let's just do this. Yeah, in comes the Tinkaton, and that Pokemon just dies to the Stealth Rocks, and even if it didn't, would have died to burn, right? So on the board early, one Pokemon down. Tinkaton was one of the Pokemon I wanted to get rid of, but if you look at this battle now, we are in a little bit of trouble versus that Flamigo, to be honest. Like, Flamigo is a little bit of a problem here for this battle, and as I said, we're likely going to have to leverage this Custap Berry for Froslass against that Flamigo at some point. The other thing that like could be helpful for us in that aspect is if we can use our Talonflame for it as well, if it's not Choice Scarf. Though I think Choice Scarf is kind of like an obvious set to bring, especially where like you want to, I guess, is it really that obvious though, right? Because like, how does Choice Scarf play into Choice Scarf Monkey Dory, which seems like a possibility in this matchup. A lot to consider here, but I mean, Flamigo I thought would have made sense to come out here, but we are going to go Gengar, interestingly enough. I mean, at this point, right, Sinistra, I have the Bug Terra, Sludge Wave against Bug Terra with Timid is doing a lot, right? And I can't just kill with Shadow Ball, but if this is like Choice Specs and I lose my Sinistra, which I desperately do feel like I want in this battle, so I think we're just going to go into my Dunsparce, because if it is Choice Specs, I would like to be into this Pokemon, specifically due to the fact that he's not going to click Focus Blast, and he's going to click Substitute. So it's funny, we actually tested against this set, and he doesn't have the what's it called, so Sub Nasty Plot is most likely here, right? It's funny, in Mox we had Air Balloon on this set. He doesn't have Air Balloon here, but I did end up losing to that, and that's why I have Shadow Ball here. I wanted Earth Power for this and Tinkaton, but with Tinkaton gone, not really a difference here. We'll just Shadow Ball to break the Substitute. We do have a decent amount of investment, and this Focus Blast should 2 a KO. Wow, yeah, that does more than 2 a KO, that's for sure. But we are going to be able to break the Substitute here with this Shadow Ball, which means that this thing is going to... I mean, this thing was for this Pokemon, right? So at the end of the day, like, we're kind of content with that. I'm kind of surprised that he's substituted, to be honest. The only problem here is that this is not a... My counterplay to this Pokemon after is not great, right? It's like, honestly, go back into Sinistcha. Now that I know this set, I can go back into Sinistcha. And fine, but like, we're gonna have the Shadow Ball here again, right? I could see him switching out. That would be a little bit odd. But I could see that it's a possibility. I do think at this point I have a little bit of a concern with how like we might actually be able to end this game. I do think that like, all right, he is just going to substitute again. So he is Black Sludge. So this is him. I mean, he's subbing himself into range of Talonflame, which is kind of nice actually. That Focus Blast did so much to me. I'm going to have to look at my set. I feel like that did more than I would have expected. And what I want to check for is if this is somehow modest. So what it... Let me get the calculator out. 266. No, this is a Timid Max roll. Okay. Yeah, I was going to say that. Timid... No, this is not Timid Max, but this is close. Very close to Timid Max roll. And he's going to Focus Blast and hit. So 2 Focus Blasts hit. That's fine. Now we know that this set can't kill, in theory, our Sinistcha, right? Yeah, this set can't kill Sinistcha at this point if we go for the Terra. And we'll just go for the Shadow Ball. If we have to sack this Pokemon to do it, that's fine. I guess it's not really fine, right? But I think we're gonna have to live with that. I guess like if I go into Mudsdale, actually, if I think about the tools that I need to win this battle, I actually think I go Mudsdale here instead. I need to keep this. Obviously, I need to keep the, what's it called? The Sinistcha for Flygon and Vaporeon. I need this for Flamigo, but I think my game plan for the Flamigo now has to be the game plan that we discussed of the Froslass, right? I think that has to be what I go for here. So this Earthquake, I mean, we're clicking Earthquake, right? Let's not complicate things here. We know this is just a timid set. We know we have all of the HP in the world. We know that this is at most a 2-hit KO. I mean, he could have random coverage for this, but I expect this to be sub-nasty plot, and to have coverage for Sinistcha is the most likely set this would be. So like by kind of like process of elimination, that's what we end up with here. Big Sip comes out. I really want to get into a position where, yeah, that's decent damage, right? Like, you're not going to scoff at that, and we're still decently high HP on this. I want to, I mean, I don't want to say I have to hope for him not to flip turn here, but it would obviously be beneficial to me if he didn't flip turn here, right? Like, that would be like obviously the best case scenario. Though I don't expect that to be the case. I could have gone Sinistcha, but the problem is if I get flip turned, I could get flip turned onto Sinistcha, and I end up in a bad spot versus the Gengar, which is the problem here at this spot. My HP is not high enough after a burn to deal with that. So let's just hope he doesn't flip turn here. He just goes for the wish. Okay, so what is he trying to wish into here? He could wish into itself. He could go Mesprit to keep that Pokemon high. He could honestly just protect, right? I want to cover off, like what I have to cover off is this Gengar here. Flash Cannon in theory does a good job covering that Pokemon off without risking a miss, but that's against like max, like against a max HP. No, I have Stealth Rocks up. Against max HP, that's actually I think the right play. Flash Cannon, what does that do? Elsewhere, he could just protect here. I think there's a decent chance he just protects here. So I'm just gonna Flash Cannon. All right, if he goes Gengar, this should kill. After Stealth Rocks, and he just goes Mesprit. Okay. So this Draco Meteor would not have killed. And I get decent chip off on this Pokemon. I guess not really. It's gonna get all its HP back. Yeah, I was doing 51 to 60. Is that a J. Ricky Berry? Okay, this Pokemon is now all the way up to full. Which is not great. That's obviously, you know, we could have had a better situation out of that turn, but at this point I'm going to go back into my I guess I'll go into Froslass. I want to take a little bit more chip with this Pokemon. to help facilitate the Custap range. I think Drain Punch is the most likely click here. Though I think this team just, unfortunately, I mean, Psychic Noise is actually good for me here. I am in Custap range now, which is not great. Am I exactly at, oh my god, am I exactly at Rocks range? Dude, I'm actually at Rocks range now, wow. Like literally by 1%. Fuck. I guess this wasn't necessarily the smartest play then, that's not great. I guess I have to take the Mesprit with me then. I have to use Custap Berry, Destiny Bond here, and take this Pokemon with me. Yeah, I can't. I mean, that's my best value. I can set up a Spike, but Spike doesn't do a lot against what's left in the build. So let's just take this Pokemon with me. It's unfortunate how literally kind of like the max HP, or literally my investment. If I had a little bit more HP, I would have been fine to come back in, but. And he's just going to Psychic Noise. All right, we'll take the Mesprit with me. That's an okay result, right? Like, certainly things could have gone worse. And certainly this Flamigo is still, like, a big factor in this endgame. But we're still mitigating some of, like, the worst case scenarios. And, like, I could still be faster and burn it, right? With Talonflame. Like, the worst case scenarios are around Choice Scarf. And that's assuming I've kind of, like, not played anything into it. I think my best thing is honestly to go Flygon here, or to go, not Flygon, Mudsdale here. Good against the Gengar, good against the Flamigo, and good against the Vaporeon. I honestly think, or not the Vaporeon, the Flygon, I think honestly that's my best play here, is just to do that. And just protect against those, because like the Vaporeon is not a bad worst case scenario here. In comes Flygon. This was something that's more, that I fear of a little bit more, right? Of like, this is just a setup, like Flygon set, then I'm obviously like a little bit more concerned. Body Press is a great click here, I think, for me, to be honest. I think I'm just going to click Body Press. It prevents Substitute from getting set up. I don't think he's likely to stay in anyway, but it also gives me some chip on that Vaporeon, because he's shown that he had to Wish Out last time, took a decent amount of HP on that Pokemon. Look, this is not a perfect scenario by any means for me here, but I do think this could be better. Earth Power, okay. So it's just mixed. Is this like specs? Hold on. I did not expect to see special on this Pokemon. That is a lot of damage. We'll take that. That's really nice. Wow. Was not really predicting that. Is this literally modest choice specs? Damn, I think it is. Oh, you're right. Shit. Well, that is annoying. I mean, do I save this Pokemon? What is this Pokemon good for now? I mean, it's a sap, right? Now that I know, I can come in. Wow, that is. I mean, I can go this. I think. I don't know. Is Flygon even killing this, or is the Talonflame even killing this? No. That is a wild set. Damn. Credit to Necrosteeple for that. I was not expecting. It's not even specs. What is going on here? My head calcs are all over the place, chat. Earth Power and Giga Drain. Oh, I don't have the Terra clicked. Yeah, that's on me. I mean, it doesn't matter, right? I think I had to make that play anyway, right? Like, I don't feel a type of way about that. Just seems my calc is wrong. So this is just straight up like some sort of modest, like expert belt kind of set, which means I can go Sinistra here. I mean, I have to go Sinistra, right? Like, it's my best next step here in this battle. He doesn't have a great switch into this. I can Shadow Ball. At this range, Shadow Ball is tough to click. I'm going to be honest with you. Shadow Ball is tough to click. I think it's if I Matcha Gotcha. Yeah, if I Matcha Gotcha and he goes Gengar, I get out of range of it. So I think that's actually the best thing for me to do here is just go for the Matcha Gotcha. I could go for like a Strength Sap and like Strength Sap all that HP from Gengar as well if I wanted. That actually might be preferable, to be honest. Yeah, that's actually preferable because it just dies anyway, right, to the next click I make. So let's Terra Terra Bug, shout out Terra Bug, the most broken Terra of all time. Let's get back to full HP off the Gengar or this Pokemon. Or if he goes into Flamigo, that's obviously really good. But I'd like to get full HP off the Gengar, yeah. I mean, in comes Gengar. I gotta take a decent amount of damage. Shout out to Gengar floating. But now, like, I'm at an HP where, like, I'm okay with this. And I can sack a Pokemon, come in on Flygon again. But as I keep saying, this damn Flamigo, man, is gonna be... It's gonna be a problem. And I don't necessarily believe I have the full access to the tools to deal with it at this point. Alright, give me that HP back. That'll bring us up to full. Attack drop obviously doesn't matter. This is like 140. Yeah, so that's obviously guaranteed for me. And I'm going to lose a decent amount of HP, right? But I get a lot of HP back on other things. So I'm okay with that. Just look at the Pokemon menu here. Shout out to the Pokemon menu. I could go into... What is Flamigo's speed tier? 204. My Sinistcha doesn't outspeed that at -1, which is not great. Obviously would have preferred to have that be the case. But let's just go for a Shadow Ball here and pick up a kill. So it's going to go for the Shadow Ball. I'm going to take like 40 here. Yeah. I'm still in a good spot to gain HP back versus the Flygon. But as I said, chat, this Flamigo is a little bit of a problem at this point. And unfortunately, my box, shout out to the Nuzlocke terms, my box didn't have a good answer to this, especially when Flygon revealed to be mixed. It should have been something that was on my mind with the earlier plays, right? But unfortunately wasn't. At this point, it's time to go into a Goodra. Goodra sack. Look, Goodra, shout out to you. You put in the most this week, but it's time to say goodbye. It's time to say goodbye, Goodra. Would really like to see a Brave Bird here, because if it's a Brave Bird, then he has to gooey, and then I get in a actually okay spot with my Sinistcha. Yeah, Brave Bird is good for me here. This gooey is going to be nice. All right, 160 down to 55. That is going to give me the information I need on this Pokemon. This is not choice banded. That was what, 95? This is Jolly. Okay, so this is Jolly, not choice band, which is really, really good. So if it's choice Scarf, 229, okay. Talonflame. I think I can do this with Talonflame, I think. I'm just going to drop a Draco. I have to sack this now. This to me is screaming Choice Scarf now, maybe? Potentially. I mean, I can't go Sinistcha here, right? I know that I get outsped. It would be irresponsible to do so. But the question here is, what's a winning play on this turn? What's a winning play? Because this is very, very winnable here, right? The problem is I have to fucking heal up. I mean, he could just try to Brave Bird me, right? I think dude, I knew. Yeah, this is what happens, man. When you just don't fucking put the odd HP. I wish I wish it would fucking not default. All right, let's not tilt off here. I think we have to roost because we still need this for this Pokemon. We can U-turn on the Vaporeon. He switches out. Like, even if I U-turn there, right? Like, it's just not gonna matter. He's just gonna go into the Vaporeon. This thing is at low HP, right? Like, just like one thing to keep in mind here is that like he is not. All it takes is one misplan. I have to U-turn on this. I want to keep HP. I think Flip Turn has to come out here, right? The Flip Turn has to come out for him. If he goes for like a Wish or something, I'm still in this, but the problem is like the Flygon's at too high HP. I mean, the Flygon just might not have something to fucking hit this, right? Like, that would be obviously very like unlikely and improbable, but like, I guess in theory a possibility. But yeah, the odd HP is really killing me on that turn, because like I would have like if I had even HP, odd HP, I just U-turn, and like I U-turn. The problem is I don't think I outspeed in that case. What is my situation? I mean, I'm going into. I mean, he's gonna Brave Bird with the Flamigo, right? If I get the Flame Body burn, this is still very much winnable for me. Like if I get burned, if Flamigo gets burned, this dies. Yeah, I guess I lose. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Yeah, just this thing getting burned is such a problematic point of this game. And this thing having odd HP was such a even HP is such a backbreaking moment of this game because I just U-turn, Matcha Gotcha, and he just doesn't have as many tools as he does now. I guess I go into this. I bait a burn. No, the burn bait doesn't even work. I guess I can stall out. I think I have to sack this Pokemon. I guess I can stall it out in theory here. I guess I Strength Sap. Yeah, I can stall this out in theory, technically. If he's like Jolly, he has to get... Is there even a roll? No, it's only burn rolls, right? Yeah, there's no roll that even guarantees it. He has to not be Choice Scarf, which I think is just not the case here. Yeah, if I had odd HP, I think this game maybe goes a little bit differently, but I think he just had too many tools in this battle, unfortunately. It is what it is. A rough season, but I mean, certainly one I feel like I should be doing better in. I give myself higher standards than going 0-4 in a draft league, especially where I should have won last week, but just played myself out of that game. Yeah, an interesting one to look back on. Really didn't expect the Flygon set. That Calip definitely looked to be in the, not in the mixed range. So very interesting to see how that one played out. I figured just body pressing would have been fine, right? Just to get some HP on that Pokemon. Maybe I do have to go into Sinistra and just click the Matcha Gotcha there, or click the Strength Sap and keep the Mudsdale around for that Pokemon. A lot to think about and watch back on, but yeah, that's week number 4. Hey, I still back myself to win the next 5, so stay tuned for next week. Midweek video this week, I don't know what it'll be, but stay tuned for that, and we'll see everyone next time.